For many, many years now, a little company called Knight Models have been pumping out incredible quality, officially licensed models from the DC universe. And whilst they've remained a fairly minor player in the miniature gaming world, they've garnered a reputation for excellence with their sculpting, capturing the dynamic and bombastic nature of DC's characters perfectly. But Knight Models and DC Comics just dropped a bit of a bombshell. This is Warhammer Golden Boy lover and nerd messiah apparent Henry Cavill. You might recognise him from, I don't know, pretty much every mainstream conversation that involved Warhammer from 2023. Oh yeah, and he's Superman. But you see, underneath the skin of my First Steps painting, old Henry here has a surprise because, as you can see, he's made of 3D printed resin. And so this is a big deal because these aren't dodgy knockoff STLs from some Discord in the dark corners of the internet. They're officially licensed DC Knight Models, stamped and approved 3D printables. They're part of a new My Mini Factory campaign, which of course I will link below for you, where Knight Models has just dropped their first wave of printable DC Universe miniatures. There's not just Superman, of course, there's a decent little cross-section of DC characters to choose from, the inclusion of Dr. Fate being one that makes me particularly happy. But there's one thing that always kinda worries me when a good mainstream miniature sculptor starts to release STLs. Will the quality hold up? And by that I don't just mean, are the prints good, I mean, can an idiot like me produce excellent miniatures with these files? And well, the truth is, yes, but with an asterisk, because as you can see here, I certainly had some failures. But the good news, kinda, is that these were all on the included pre-supports. With just auto-supporting in G2 box and one or two tweaks, I was able to run off some lovely prints that succeeded every time. And with my minimal knowledge of printing, that's a win in my book. And as you can see, the sharpness and quality of these sculpts is very impressive. Hell, look, I'd be amazed if this came from a company with a long-standing pedigree in 3D printing, let alone a company that's just getting into that world. The proof, though, is of course in the pudding, and what can look like a very detailed print when you clean and cure it isn't always so crisp when you paint it. Henry here definitely held up fine though, and gave me no concerns whatsoever as I worked on him. I was able to pretty much treat it just like any other miniature, plastic, resin or metal. As a quick sidebar, painting Superman is actually really fun though. I wanted to capture that kind of bright and bold look that the character has, so it was a really fun challenge to try and incorporate that in the miniature whilst maintaining some sort of miniature painterly normality. Yeah. And as you can see, the finished piece doesn't really look particularly like a print at all. Never mind anything less than an excellent print. All of the important features are sharp and well defined, for the most part at least, and the sculpt reads really well, which is the bit that matters. If I have maybe one small complaint, it's the likeness to Henry Cavill is maybe lost a tiny bit in the printing process. Like, it really looked good on the file, but didn't translate super well in the print. And I think that's probably largely just 3D printing. I don't think that's necessarily the sculpt's fault. So, at this point, you might be about to say, well, Superman isn't exactly a festival of detail, is he? Or something to that effect. And you'd be right, and it's probably not a total test of how good these miniatures are, but that's why I also decided to paint Batfleck. Because unlike Superman with his silky, smooth, muscle-defining bodysuit, the Affleck iteration of Batman has this ribbed suit with lots of deliberate texture and quite a few different materials present, which should really expose any issues with the detail on these miniatures. When I saw the STL for Batman, I honestly wasn't even sure the suit texture would print at all because it's so fine, but here we are, and as you can see, it's not just there, but it's actually very visible and very crisp. It's honestly kind of hard to not be impressed by this offering, and I find myself tempted to paint up display pieces for all the STLs. If only time was a friend, eh? Once I'd finished Batman, he ended up looking like this, and again, doesn't particularly feel like a 3D print to me, just a really great looking miniature of a really cool and well recognised character. And I know the Batfleck version of Batman wasn't for everyone, but I kinda liked him, so I enjoyed painting this. This foray into the world of 3D printed miniatures from DC and Knight models has me kinda excited actually, and maybe it should have you excited too. Because not only does it represent, obviously, an opportunity for us to paint and enjoy some of our favourite characters from the DC universe, that's really cool, but it could also represent a bit of a paradigm shift in how these big IPs engage with the modelling and wargaming space. We do, unfortunately, live in a world where knockoffs of big IPs are kind of everywhere in the 3D printing space, and it can be really hard to find something to paint of your favourite character that actually has the quality of something that's officially licensed, or even if you do find something great from a third party, there's always that feeling in the back of your head of, shouldn't I really be supporting the people that made this? If the entry of DC into the 3D printing space starts to cause other big IPs to pay attention, that could be a really amazing thing where we start to see all sorts of big and famous characters appearing as 3D printed miniatures, busts, or printable action figures maybe. And of course, all of these will be super easy to get your hands on thanks to whatever your favourite 3D STL website is. My Mini Factory in my case. So what I would say is check out the link below, because that's going to take you to the My Mini Factory campaign and you can have a look at all the details a bit more close up and a bit more for yourself. I also have to send huge thanks to My Mini Factory for sponsoring this video. Very kind of them to approach me, and I had a hell of a lot of fun painting these models. So folks, I think that is probably about it from me for this one, but thank you so much for watching. Check out the cool DC miniatures, enjoy them, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.